Hey guys, welcome to the 101 in 10, where you get to see your favorite artists from around the world 101 in 10 minutes. I'm your host, Ayasha Roberson, and I'm back on the scene with a new artist. Now, this time we have a beautiful songwriter. She is this really good vocalist as well. I love her songs. She talks about healing and love and passion and all the things that affect us on the emotional level, but also on a psycho-spiritual level as well, which I absolutely love, because you guys know I'm very spiritual as well. So without further ado, let me help you introduce you to the wonderful, the talented, and beautiful Treneti Brown. Yay!
Thank you. Thank you so much for the beautiful introduction and for diving into my work. I am Treneti and I'm super happy to be here. And yeah, singer, songwriter, music producer. I usually just kind of go by composer because I come from a background of dance choreography. That's what my first whole career in life as an artist was, just in that and dance and film and art direction. And now I compose music, and it is like this full 360 creative journey and experience. So yeah, when you see all of the visual content that goes along with my music, that's all happening in-house with my regenerative media company, Soulful Resonance. So yeah, we're here to create like just full spectrum, cinematic, introspective experiences for people to enjoy themselves. Really, that's my goal with my music, is to create a space for you to enjoy you.
That's great. I mean, you're the second artist I have interviewed that has like a background in dance and composing, and then kind of like doing something totally different on the whole. It's still art, but just a different part of art with the music scene as well. And it's
Mhm.
good that you can kind of collaborate the two things together, because sometimes it's hard for people to really integrate both of those worlds, because
Mhm.
it's a different type of um skill set that comes out, and a lot of times people only have a skill set for one thing and not the other. So it's
Mhm.
good to be able to interview such a triple threat as yourself, because
Thank
that's, I mean,
you.
that's an amazing, amazing talent. I love the fact that you answered my first question, so it just keeps the show just rolling.
Okay, yeah, we're just connected.
Yes, definitely. We're connected on the same vibrational energy.
Mhm.
So tell me, what were your musical influences growing up? Because I do love your music.
Oh my gosh, I love this question. This is my favorite question. I was so lucky to have such an eclectic mother who influenced me so much and allowed me to explore all sorts of genres of music. And so I like knew about all the mainstream. I kind of was one of those kids. I was like the weird alternative girl in the hood, like nickname AKA Oreo. Like y'all know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like so like I knew all of the like mainstream hip hop and R&B as a survival mechanism for school, so that I could relate to my peers. And I liked some of it, like shout out to Erica Badu, shout out to Jill Scott, shout out to just like old school real hip hop beats with real messages. And like but I'm a Chicago kid, so I grew up watching house be born around me.
I
I
love it.
grew up like deep in the house music scene, deep in like that trance dance gospel vibration. And like I was big into the Chicago footwork culture. Like that's how I used to pay my little Nokia phone bill. When I was a little girl, I would go to the footworking battles and like enter and like beat all these grown men at footworking. It was so funny. So like yeah, Chicago juke music, Chicago house, drum and bass, that whole seems very influential in my music. And then also I was super into alternative music and ambient music, and exposed to like The Cure and Tori Amos. And still to this day, my favorite artist all time is Bjork. Like I just pray to be the next Bjork. Like that's all I really want in my life.
Um,
Well, she's Grandma Bjork now. Somebody's got to step
yeah,
in.
yeah. But, but she still fly, still
She's
fly.
still fly. my queen right there. So yeah, deeply influenced by her, deeply influenced by Radiohead, Tom York, love it. It's just like, yeah, artists who just stay true to their oddity and like just letting that full soul spectrum come through.
You know what? A lot of things that you said to me resonated, but we always within the Black community, for those who don't know, we always have a couple of girls and boys within our community that's at the Oreo because they're not listening to all the mainstream music the majority of people are listening to, whether you live in the hood or not. There's always someone that's like that within our community, and we kind of label them as a little weird. And then when we start becoming older, we're like, oh yeah, we can kind of rock to that too. we're after all, we're because I was like kind of like that kid too, but I grew up in a different type of neighborhood, but I'm in a white neighborhood. So I was kind of like, amongst some of my peers, like the Oreo as well. But I mean, I love the fact that you're talking about Chicago and the house music scene because I was into house too. And
Yeah.
I'm originally from Philadelphia. So
Yeah, Philly scene is tight.
yes, it is. I mean, you said Jill Scott, so I love Jill Scott and Erica Badu and Bilal was out
Oh my God, yeah.
and Floetress. This is like
Yeah.
let's set the tone, ladies and gentlemen. This is like the 90s. That's where you
Mm-hmm.
had all this neo soul or R&B, and it was very authentic. It had a lot of substance with it as well as a person of color or Black person, wherever you were living. However, she said house music. So house music, one thing Philadelphia didn't have compared to Chicago and New Jersey and even New York City, they had a little bit of house music, but I didn't know the difference. They had something called go-go. The go-go music
It's
from
different.
DC, which
Yeah.
people will be like, that's house music. I'm like, I think it sounds a little bit more
We
different
call
than
that techno.
that. Exactly. I'm like, I don't think that's house music. And when I was a kid growing up, I was also a dancer as well. And we used to dance off the house music for jazz. And I used to love the way the energy feels because the energy is just so much different. So I can definitely relate to your growing up and how your influences have just kind of come together to evolve to the person that you are today because you have such a very versatile upbringing and experience when it comes to music. And I think
Mm-hmm.
as an artist, that what makes you evolve and it makes you being able to go into different realms
Mm-hmm.
of music and expand your scope of what it
Yeah.
is to be an artist. Because I think
Yeah.
as artists, we have to really evolve. And it's sometimes hard to evolve when you're in a box.
Right, right. And I listen to so many genres of music. I got my like Spotify year recap. They said I listened to over like 2,576 genres this year. Like I like love music so much. And it's like I started also from dance. So that's like starting as an experiencer of music rather than someone practicing and studying, perfecting music. And another reason why my music is so like unique is because I don't have rules. Like I wasn't trained in music. I was trained in dance. So I'm creating what literally feels good. And before I stepped into music, I stepped into sound science and sound healing and frequency and understanding like the vibrational energetics of like everything. That's what I learned and harnessed first and cultivated like practices with that first. And then I started producing music. So that's also deeply infused in the way the tones that I choose. I literally have a library that I created my own analog like synth samples of different healing frequencies and planetary frequencies, and I infuse that in those like keys into my music. And the way I mix even is just like all about how it's going to land in your body and making sure it's like really like feels good in your body. And yeah, so like I don't mind playing with semitones and I don't mind playing with like what people call diminished chords and things that just like bring in a certain feeling. And it's really unique because I don't have something in me, a little voice saying that's not correct, that's not how you do that, that's not this genre, that's not da da da. And like I meet so many musicians who have that and they feel like they have to follow these like rules. And I'm like, music is infinite, vibration is infinite. Like yeah, like rules are cool, but they're also like, how do we expand and create new genres and new energy on this planet? Because like sound is vibration. That's creating a bounce board for our energy, like what we have available to us and what we consciously experience. Like, how do we have new experiences if we don't like make new sounds, you know?
You dropped so many jewels. Oh my God, that was excellent. Because one of the things I always talk to people, because me and you are vibrating on the same vibrational level, is that you have to really feel the music. You have to really feel the energy. And a lot of times, sometimes artists will drop their music in and ask people how it sounds, and they be like, "Oh, it sounds like this or that." I'm like, they're not even on the same vibrational frequency that you're in. So a lot of times they can't really feel the music. They can't feel what you're experiencing. And if you're on a different vibrational level, then someone else that's not on the level won't be able to feel it. But you have to be in that same vibrational level to be able to feel that music and feel the resonation of that music. And that's the key point, ladies and gentlemen. You have to create music that feels good. And so when you feel good, the music will vibrate and it will feel good to other people.
Yes, absolutely.
Because when you listen to music that feels off, usually the person is a little off. Like, for example, like I listen to some rap music. I don't listen to a lot, but I do from time to time. And even with some of the rap music up today, it feels off. So I can tell that someone was actually smoking, drinking, doing something that felt a little off within their vibration. And when you're in tune and tapped in to the frequency of your vibration and the planet's vibration, then you can understand if something's off with the music. And most people aren't tuned in and tapped in. So that's why I don't understand why it's off.
It's like whole foods versus processed foods. It's like we finally gotten there where people recognize that something happened and not all food is created equally anymore. There's organic food and there's whole food that is like complete. And then there's processed, man-made, distorted, altered foods, GMOs, things like that. They're going to create a different version of you. Whichever one you're eating the most consistently is going to color your personality and your health and everything, the way that you experience life, in fact, your emotions, everything's going to be formed around that. And where I pray, what my prayer is as a modern Renaissance woman and someone who is ushering in the age of regenerative art, is that people learn the difference between junk food art consumption and art that is nourishing you. You know, it is really the science of sound. At the end of the day, it's like the way that people tune pop music is very high pitched. There's a lot of tension that translates into what you feel, especially a lot of the Satan rap and the trap and all of that stuff is these very archaic, like 1 2 1 2 beats, so that it trances you into a state where you're receptive to whatever trance or manipulation that music's trying to get you to do. Drink, do drugs, go fight somebody, like be disrespectful to a woman. Let's break down the family structure. Let's break down our communities. And by the way, let's like have these record labels who own these puppets make tons of money off of the sale of the music and of all of the people who end up in their private prisons by reenacting the music in their life. And so like it's really deep. Like music actually can like heal communities and bring people closer together and closer to their family and closer to themselves, and it can also destroy communities. And there's you know, that's just one version of it. We all also see what happens with like the perfection code of like everyone using auto-tune. Well, then it's like music is already produced digitally, so when you auto-tune your voice, you're taking out that last little human essence from your song. Like that was the last drip drop. Now it's gone. Now it's gone. And you're also now telling your voice that it can only do the Western music scale. You're leaving no room for semitones, no room for that authentic extra dimensional space that the voice is able to create, that a robot that's to a fixed scale cannot create. And it's also you know, creating a false sense of perfection that isn't going to be the experience when people see you live. And so yeah, it's like, what is real? It's the same thing as like, what is real inside of sound, and what is real inside of food? Like it should be. And that doesn't mean like we can't use our electronic tools. Like there's so much beauty and like intricacy that we can weave in the electronic space while still holding down that organic vibration and infusing that organic love and organic voice and organic instruments into the experience, and intentionality, using the electronic tools to help us clean and clarify our intentionality of the vibrations that we're choosing. Like you can literally like Like when I'm mixing, I go, and I'm gonna get a nerdy really quick for a second. Like there's like a bit, like, so frequencies in sound that we can hear go from 0 hertz all the way to 10K hertz. And so, like I said, I mix for feeling. So if I played something on my synth, I put it in, and now I'm hearing there's like a frequency in there somewhere that's making me feel anxious. I can literally like use this device called EQ8 to search through that sound and find that very specific frequency that's making me feel anxious and pull it out so that my listeners don't feel that anxiety from that sound. Pull out everything that feels not good in the body. We have that ability now,
Yes,
you know?
we do. Come on, we live in a feeling universe, so you should do. And if you're connected, tuned in, and tapped into it, you should be able to feel the difference, and be able to feel the difference within inside yourself, and be able to understand it's coming from something within the music. Now we're talking. You dropped so many jewels. I'm like just mesmerized. I'm so excited. Okay, so you have your songs, which I love. They're very different. I love the fact that they're just very authenticity in regards to your music. The song of Saturn, I absolutely love. And the full moon, yes, I do love that song. And the full moon transmission, which we just had a full moon as well. So can you tell, you already told me a little bit about the creative process, but what were some of your influences as far as like coming up with these concepts for both of these songs?
Wait, could you name the songs again?
Okay, it was Songs of Saturn.
Songs of Saturn, that's a whole album. Yeah.
Okay, yes, it is.
Yeah. And
really,
then
and then Full Moon Transmission.
so you're on my SoundCloud.
Yes, I am.
Oh, snap. Okay, y'all. Like, first of all, Full Moon Transmission, that ain't even nowhere else. You can't listen to that nowhere else but on my SoundCloud.
Wow.
Which Full Moon Transmission do you remember the numbers? Was it
627?
627. See, look at this. This is how you know I'm a nerd. Like, I'm like, which one? 627. So that means it was June 27th. So I'm gonna just
don't worry about it.
yeah, let me see. Let's see this one. Oh my goodness, I haven't heard this in so long. Ooh. Okay. Oh yeah, I had to listen to it. That's an old one. That was right in the beginning. So okay, so you went to my origin story. Both of those are part of my origin story. So when like I said, I was a dance artist all of my life, professional, toured, like was featured on Vice, all these things. Literally killed my whole identity, destroyed everything to pursue music because I received in a ceremony that's what my true destiny was to use my voice. So I went on this whole healing process. I was actually like pretty mute. I relied on movement to express myself, and I had a lot of blockages in my voice, and stepping into sound was a healing process in and of itself for me. And so I started learning my instrument and writing my first album simultaneously, Songs of Saturn. All those songs I received as I was learning how to play bass. And so it was this like whole transmission process. Like I didn't know anything, and it was just, this is what was coming through. At the same time, I was in a super toxic relationship with a jazz musician who was just telling me that I couldn't make it, that I was like too old, that I sound too weird, that like I sang off key, all these different things just like kind of like laying into me, like my inner critic manifested into another human. So finally, I was able to love myself enough to get out of that relationship. And when I did, I moved to Portland, Oregon, which is where I used to be based. I'm based in Boulder, Colorado now. But I moved there with the intention of producing Songs of Saturn, my first album. And I was also just trying to like get my voice, get my sound out there more. And so this was very early in my process as a producer. I just had like an audio interface and the light version of Ableton and my looper, my Helicon Voice Live looper at the time. And I was doing this practice. It was like a spiritual practice for my voice, where on every new and full moon for a while, I would just go into the studio, plug everything in, turn it on, and just listen. And whatever came through, I made a song that was channeling the energy of that particular moon. And I would it was like a straight, just like raw composition. I didn't know anything about mixing at this time, I didn't know anything about anything. I was just like, that sounds pretty good. And like throw it up on SoundCloud. Then I would text every single person in my phone the link. And then I would go like this. And just like hide and like it be expecting, people to be like, oh my gosh, this is trash. Why'd you send me this? And but obviously that's not what I got in return. It's a lot of gratitude and love and people enjoying it and wanting to hear more of it. But yeah, that transmission was about like holding on to your creative center and not letting anyone take it away from you. Like, and then Psalms of Saturn, that's a whole thing. That's all the teachings of my Saturn return, and the whole process of making that album was my initiation into making music. Like I literally like could do a whole 3-hour thing about all the things that happened for me to complete that album. It took like 3 years to complete it. I almost died like 3 times. Like literally, like crazy stuff would happen. Like my path has been like so spirited and like deep and initiation based to arrive to this point where I can create whatever I want with like a significant amount of ease.
Wow, that's great. You have such a beautiful story. I mean, like, oh my gosh, I'm so enlightened by how you were able to tap in and tune into this energy to create all these different parts of music that composed of yourself and evolving into the person that you are today. Can you tell the fans how can they get in contact with you and how can they book you for upcoming show?
Yeah, so the very best way to reach me is at my website, treneti.com, TRENETI.com. I'm pretty much the only Treneti that exists. So if you Google that name, it's going to pop up all of my other socials. I'm at Treneti Music on mostly all platforms. I'm only really active on Instagram right now because I'm kind of busy and social media is interesting to me. I'm in the process so much. I'm just like not one of those types of artists that's super, super out there on social media all the time. But I am on Instagram and you can DM me there and I will respond. And yeah, but my website, that's the best place to find me. And that's the best place to listen to everything in super high resolution, master resolution.
Well, thank you so much, Treneti.
Treneti.
I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm so sorry, Treneti, for blessing us with all your spiritual presence and with this interview as well. It was such a delight.
Yeah.
Definitely gotta have you on an upcoming show later.
Such a pleasure. Yeah. Reach out anytime.
Yes. And thank you guys for tuning in to the 101 in 10, where you get to see a new artist from around the world 101 in 10 minutes. Make sure you stay tuned to our show for next week. You never know what artist is going to be on our show. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care and have a good day. Bye.